Greetings YouTube. I have purchased a new monitor which is larger, so my camera is at a slightly different angle. I hope no one minds. There is a controversy, quote unquote, going on in the gaming community that for some reason feminists are taking over the articles. Now, there has been a discussion that claims that some journalists have unresolved conflicts of interest and have breached real or perceived codes of ethics. And that's an important conversation to be had about the consistency and transparency of journalism in general, not just in the gaming community. But a lot of people have been making the claim that feminists' content has been taking over journalism in the gaming community. So someone did some research because they have access to a very large database of articles from the gaming community, articles from magazines, websites, things that deal with computer games. Okay, two claims that are being discussed here. A small faction of feminists are taking over video gaming journalism and shifting the focus from the love of video games to gender relations. And two, the consequence of this shift is that journalists are no longer delivering content that gamers want. So essentially, how often do video game journalists bring up feminism, sexism, or misogyny in their works? That's the specific question that this person has decided to do some research on. And they culled from 23 outlets over a 12-month period 130,524 articles, which is astounding that there's been 130,000 articles that deal with computer games. I guess I really shouldn't be surprised seeing that computer games have outstripped motion pictures for as far as entertainment dollars are concerned. Now, of those that reference feminism, feminist, sexism, sexist, misogyny, and misogynistic, less than half of 1%, 0.41% of those articles contain any of those key words as they're in their content. Now, to give you some references for comparison, across the same number of articles, outlets, months, 17.8% referenced every variation of PlayStation 4, 5.61% referenced every variation of free-to-play, 3.89% referenced every variation of Call of Duty, 3.46% referenced every variation of realism and immersion, and 0.25%, thankfully less than the articles that have under discussion here, referenced Peter Molyneux, asshat extraordinaire. Now, why do I bring this up? I don't play video games. I haven't played a video game since Dungeon Hack, I think it was. I have a couple of games I actually would like to look at some point in the future, but they're old games, like Legos, things like that. Nothing exciting. I have no desire to get involved into current games. For the most part, I don't have the reflexes, nor do I have the time. But I do enjoy watching Let's Plays. Gopher, Lumen, though a lot of his stuff has been World of Warcraft recently, or Hearthstone, which I have no interest in. Which it's Hearthstone or Hearthstone, I don't know, either one, but I have no interest in either of those games. But he's been doing Legend of Grimlock 2, which I have been very much enjoying. And I also have been enjoying the playthrough of Wasteland 2 by someone named Sloshworks. He's Australian, and his voice does in no way, shape, or form fits his physical appearance. Quite amazed me when I found out what he looked like. And I enjoy watching them. I find them interesting. I also have to admit, I have a thing for foreign accents. Gopher, Lumen, and Sloshworks all have foreign accents to me. I enjoy that. But I understand the importance that video games play in people's lives. Now, the response to this conversation about integrity in gaming journalism and the fact and the fictitious belief that feminism is taking over content in gaming journalism, is the reaction from the gaming community to women who write and are involved in the production of video games. And that reaction has been monstrous. There have been threats of rape. There have been threats of violence. there have been horrendously cruel and vicious and unpleasant language. Recently, a woman wanted to have a talk in Utah about the topic of that I'm discussing here, except there was a legitimate threat to her life. Someone threatened and gave specific information about what he was going to do if she showed up at the event and talked about feminism in gaming. He was going to kill people, detonate bombs, shoot women. He is going to specifically target women because he feels that all feminists are out to get him. He's a deeply disturbed person who apparently is a credible threat. The police are aware of this, but because it is an open carry state, they are not willing to search every single person going into the event. So this woman had to cancel her talk, which is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to shut her down. And he posed enough of a credible threat that he did. Bravo. You are showing the absolute worst face of humanity. And in general, men. And this is the really ugly part of this. If you were just complaining about the content of journalism articles, fine. But there's this incredible tidal wave of male privilege washing over the gaming community, where we have misogynists and male supremacists and members of the MRA, like devout followers of Peter Molyneux, the asshat extraordinaire, who will threaten people with violence, with rape, with murder, and then think nothing of it. All in an effort to show that men aren't misogynistic, male supremacists, and insane. So this is how they prove it. They show how reasoned they are. They show what constructive members of society that these outspoken members of the MRA are. No, they make themselves look like raving anti-feminists hate groups, which is, of course, what the MRA is. And this is something that we as a society need to be talking about. Why are we tolerating this? Why are we allowing these people to claim the public square and hold it and block out other people who want to speak? Why is it acceptable for someone to make a credible threat? The police admit a credible threat in Utah, and yet it's not going to be stopped, so someone couldn't give a talk. All because of some perceived threat from feminism, which, as the data has been shown here, doesn't exist. 0.41% of articles out of a 12-month period that deal with video games dealt with feminism and misogyny. 0.41%. That's not a tidal wave, folks. But the reaction, the violent, ugly, vicious, nasty, misogynistic reaction to this, that is a reality.